Hey everybody, welcome back to Whisky Central. If you're new here, my name is Shayla, and today we're reviewing Glendroach 12-year. So I've got some history for you today, but if you want to skip around to other parts of the video, there's timestamps in the description box below. And if you enjoy whiskey reviews, make sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any new videos. Glendroach takes its name from the Dronoch River on site, which in Gaelic means bramble, so Valley of the Brambles or Blackberry Bushes. Glendroach was founded in 1826 by local farmers led by James Allardyce. Allardyce tried to persuade taverns to stock his whiskey, but none of them were buying, so to drown his sorrows, he started walking around town, and two ladies of the night asked if they could be paid with whiskey. He took them up to a hotel room, and the ladies loved Glendroach. They spread the word to all the local places in Edinburgh, who soon started buying whiskey from Allardyce. The bottles used to have a little kind of story about this on the label, but with one of the company buyouts, they thought it was a little too risque, so now they just have some vanilla tasting notes on the back. It was only the second distillery to be licensed under the 1823 Excise Act. If you want to learn more about the Excise Act, there is a lovely new channel called The Liquid Antiquarian. I will leave the link to that video in the description box below. In 1837, a fire destroyed most of the distillery, and Allardyce unfortunately went bankrupt in 1842. Walter Scott, owner of Tenninick, rebuilt the distillery in 1852. During World War I, Glendroach was owned by the British government, who sold it to Charles Grant, the youngest son of William Grant, founder of Glenfiddich. He bought it at auction for £9,000 in 1920, and he and his family would successfully run the distillery for another 40 years. It went to Allied Distillers in 1976, and in 1991 it was one of the select few to represent the Allied Distillers Caledonian Malts collection. The distillery was mothballed and purchased a few more times until 2016, when Brown-Forman purchased the distillery with the Benriach Distillery Company Limited. It included Benriach, Glendroach, and Glenglassaugh. Glendroach was one of the last distilleries to stop using coal fires to heat their stills. They stopped in 2005 when EU regulations prevented this practice. They also stopped their traditional floor maltings in 1996. But one thing has remained traditional, and it's their Oregon pine washbacks. They could have switched them to stainless steel, which are much easier to clean, but they opted for a more natural, organic process. Glendroach only uses extremely high-quality sherry casks. They spend a lot of money on their wood and cask management. They use Oloroso and Pedro Jimenez, or PX, sherry casks from Andalusia, Spain. But sherry casks are much more expensive than typical ex-bourbon barrels, so only 10% of Scotch is aged in sherry casks. The workers at Glendroach used to live on site, and one of the houses, called the Glen House, is said to be haunted by a Spanish lady who came to Scotland in a sherry cask. Alright, so let's get into the details of this whiskey. This bottle will run you about $60. It's owned by Brown-Forman, and it's located in the Highland region of Scotland. It's super close to Speyside. It's aged for 12 years, it's 43% ABV, and it's made from 100% malted barley. It's aged in Pedro Jimenez and Oloroso sherry casks, and it's non-colored and non-chill filtered. Alright, well, I'm going to pour a dram of this, let it sit for about 10 minutes, and I'll be right back. Alright, I've let this open up for about 10 minutes. Let's go in for a nose. So, it actually kind of smells a little bit bourbon-y. I mean that in a good way. Like, there's like a lot of cinnamon, kind of baking spices. Quite a bit of butterscotch too on the nose, which is just, I love that. And then a little bit of orange, a little bit of citrus, yeah. And then that kind of deep, rich kind of sherry, those sherry notes kind of come through, like there's some black currant. I only know that because I have an Aeromaster nosing kit, and that was like the note that I got on this, but like black currant, raisins, like fig, but it's like, it's so sweet that it's like a fig jam. It's not just like a regular natural fig, it's like sweetened fig jam. A little bit of apricot in there too, just like a lot of dried fruits. And then this note that I love, everybody is saying that it's marzipan, or a couple people said it's marzipan, but it's this kind of like almond intertwined with like a vanilla cream People are saying it's marzipan, so we'll go with that. Marzipan. And then a little bit of chocolate. Yeah, it's kind of chocolatey. Let's go for a sip. Cheers, guys. First thing I get is vanilla. It's kind of sweet, a little bit of fig, vanilla kind of thing. Then you get a little bit of that orange kind of citrus coming in, a little bit of that cinnamon. And then I actually got some oak spice, which I didn't really smell like a ton of oak on the nose, but a little bit of oak spice on the back. Yeah, it's pretty nice. And it's kind of, I don't know, it's interesting. This seems like it would be much more powerful. The nose is like kind of intense and kind of like this bold, deep, rich flavors. But the palate is a little bit more delicate. I don't know. Let's go for another sip. Cheers. Yeah, it's not super complex, but it's really tasty. It's got a few kind of nice notes on the palate. The nose is has like a lot going on, but the palate is a little bit kind of more calmed down. It's got this really nice, like oily, creamy texture. It goes a little bit dry kind of on the finish. I'd say probably medium finish, but I really like the structure of this. So I'm going to finish this up and I'll be right back with my recommendation. So for my recommendation, it's kind of hard. When I first had this, much of this whiskey, I was actually really disappointed with it. I didn't think that it tasted very good. It was kind of flat, honestly, but the last couple of drams, it started to kind of change. I'm enjoying it a lot more. So I'm hoping as it goes down the bottle with a little bit of oxidation, this bottle will open up. I do enjoy this, but the problem is Mike Baker sent me some samples of Glendroach, and I tried the 15 first. And I really loved the 15 that he sent, and so I think I'm kind of unfairly comparing this whiskey to the 15-year-old. So, I mean, this is cheaper, it hasn't been in a cask as long, and maybe the 15 he got was really amazing, but I do like this whiskey. I think the nose is a lot better than the palate, at least for this bottling. It was a 2018 bottling, so not sure. I tried the 12 from Mike Baker, and it was like way better than this one. I'm not sure if he had maybe some older stocks that were kind of an older bottling mixed in with the 12-year. I think if you can spend the money, I would go for the 15. It's a little bit more expensive, but just comparing my sample of the 15 to this, it's quite a bit better. If you do like this, though, you're going to like the 15 Revival, you're going to like the 18-year Allardyce, pretty much anything from Glendronach's range. And if you want to branch out from Glendronach, you could try the Dalyuen 16 Flora and Fauna or the Glenfarclas 12 or 15. Thanks for joining me on this episode of Whiskey Central. Next week, I'll be reviewing either the Clynelish 14 or the Glenfarclas 12, depending on what my patrons decide. So if you don't want to miss out, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, leave it a like. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. I can't need be bothered or something. I don't know. It's gonna be good enough. Until yeah, fuck. Glendronach takes God damn it.